Hello, everyone. Good to have you all here. Today, it's Wednesday. It's 9 o'clock here in Ireland, 9 o'clock in London as well. And it's time for our spiritual light. And it's nice to have you all here with us. Today, I will have my dear friend Silvia with me. Charles cannot make it today. So, whatever you are, Charles, if you're watching us, we wait for you next week. You know. Also, I want to say good evening to Trevor, O'Donnell, Delany Freitas, Elsa, our dear friend Elsa. Thank you for being here with us. And today's topic it is many are called by few and few are chosen. Many are called and few are chosen. So it's an important topic, and we will develop more about it while we go any further in this conversation here. But meanwhile, I want to say good evening, Miss Gibbons. How are you, my dear?
Good evening. I'm very well, thank you. Getting used to be very cold now because the weather has really changed, but it's good, and we are good. And today we're going to have a very special conversation, I think, in one of the parts of the gospel. So anyone who'd like to join, say, make a comment or ask a question, that would be good. And I hope everyone is that's with us and will listen to us later, or well, and in the grace of God. So, boa tarde a todos. Muita alegria estar aqui novamente com vocês, falando de um tema especial do Evangelho. E espero que sejam todos bens e participem. Se vocês quiserem perguntar ou fazer um comentário, vai ser muito bom. E sejam todos nas bênçãos de Deus. Thank you.
Good, good. And also, I forgot to say, Elsa Lee, because Elsa is in Sweden, so Elsa Lee is also listen to us from Sweden. So good to have you all here today.
Hello, you
So,
too.
yeah, let me share my screen. Okay, let's hit play.
You know, if you go to the shopping centers, at least in the U.S., there's a pretzel store called Auntie Annie's. Have you ever seen that? They're great pretzels full of cinnamon and sugar. They're not real healthy for you. So, you know, as a guy in preventive medicine, I really shouldn't be talking about this. But we actually interviewed 120 individuals in America who were inspired by their experience of divine love to do amazing things. So it turns out that Annie was a Mennonite and she lived in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Her husband had a dream and he felt called. That was his experience of divine love. He felt called to build residences and homes and programs for Mennonite kids with cognitive disabilities and mental illness. So his wife, Annie, was asleep one night and she experienced in a dream a revelation of a recipe. And she heard a voice that told her to start making pretzels and selling them. So she started selling these pretzels at these beat up old flea markets along Route 80 out across the state of Pennsylvania. People loved these pretzels. Lo and behold, she started a franchise. These pretzels were sold every place, the highest level malls, shopping centers. And she sold Auntie Annie's for, $250 million, I think. And she gave all the money to support kids with cognitive disabilities and so forth. So you don't realize this sometimes, but people have these experiences as a kind of calling. Some of people in our survey said They felt God's love as a calling to do something. Some people said they experienced God's love because they were really anxious and concerned and fearful. They didn't see any answer to their problems, but they met just the right person at just the right time who was the answer to their prayers.
Okay, so nice video, nice video. And the question here is why this guy had the dream, why he was called, and I'm not being called. I dream night, but I don't have this call. Perhaps this is one of the questions you may ask to yourself right now. Others who listen carefully what the doctor Stevan said, people have different experiences in being called. And today's our aim here is to give you a kind of details what this passage from Jesus means, how, not how we can support, but how we can make ourselves a better person. And this is my first thoughts, Silvia. What's your first comments?
Well, I think this kind of dreams in which you almost told something um, and fulfill a kind of mission. I think sometimes we already bring with us some kind of work that we have to do, and maybe a dream like this will be a reminder for us to start the work. You know, I think sometimes they call this numinous experience when something spiritual happens to us that lifts us from our day-to-day life and brings into some kind part of light, like they did, because they started making the pretzel to selling them, and they were very successful, and they gave the money to help children in need. So that was something very special. And I think the point you made as well, Stevan, is very correct, because each and every one of us has a work to do. We have a mission to fulfill. I think sometimes people think of great people like Divaldo, Chico Xavier, or Mother Teresa, or Gandhi, or anyone really that makes a difference in the world. And we think, oh, they had great missions and they were great people, and we know that some people have more spiritual experience. They are more spiritualized. They are in a higher level spiritually than most of us, and they come with bigger and in many ways heavier missions to fulfill. But each and every one of us come here for a purpose. I think sometimes, we admire these people, and of course we must, because they're special people and they have, fulfilled their mission. But I think that's what we have to admire in them, the effort, because no matter how, spiritualized you are and everything, to fulfill a mission here on earth, it takes a lot of determination, a lot of effort, a lot of work, and a lot of determination in a sense of sacrifice. You need to sacrifice quite a lot to achieve certain things. And I think that's what we have to admire in the people who fulfill their missions here, that they have done the work, that they have been able to give up a lot of things in order to fulfill the work they came to do. And I think sometimes we think, oh, I'll never be, because I'm too small, the world is too big, it's too powerful. But sometimes what we need to do is just to be kind to someone close to us, to be friendly, to learn to be more forgiving and more giving and understanding, to think of the world, to help make the world a better place. And I think sometimes people like that are very rare, to that they make the world a better place. It's not a sort of change the whole world, but around them. And I think very much sometimes about my mother, that was a person who used to have people around her all the time, and you felt good with her. She was friendly, she listened to people, and they went on with their own problems, and she heard them, she listened to them, and she died with their secrets. And she used to make the world around her very easy, very light, and very happy. And I think there was always people around because you felt comfortable with someone like that. And often I think, why? But she wasn't, in any way exceptional, different from anybody else. But I think just the way she reached out to people, someone came in and said, "Oh, would you like?" She wouldn't say, "Oh, would you like a cup of coffee?" She would say, "I'm making you a cup of coffee," or tea, or whatever it was, and I'm making you this sandwich because you look hungry. She wouldn't ask, "Would you like one?" She just said, "I'm going to do it for you." And I think, sometimes it's so easy to reach out because I think most people, and, working in therapy and everything, most people have what they really need is to have someone to listen to them, to have someone who they feel that they are valued, that you see them. I think, especially now in this world that we are living now, that most people now on their mobile phones or on their electronic, and they are completely detached. They're talking to people on the other side of the planet, and they're invisible to the people who are next to them, and they are invisible to them as well. And I think we need to be, when someone actually sees us, listen to us and say, "I'm going to do something as simple as, I'm going to make you a cup of coffee. I am going to, oh, would you like to come with me to this? Come with me." And I think these kind of things make one feel a lot, touch you, makes you feel happier that someone actually pays attention, knows that you're there, and is willing to do something for you. I think this is very much, a mission. Also, I mean, being a parent, I mean, you have two daughters, which probably are the light of your life, and it should be. That's your mission, maybe, and working for the work that you do. You work really hard for life and support your family, but you also work extremely hard towards the spiritism and everything. So you are fulfilling a mission. And I'm sure that everyone that maybe is listening to us now, or will, for anywhere, everyone is fulfilling some kind of mission. And if we are able to do this with grace, with gratitude, because when we do something for other people, they don't have to be grateful to us. And sometimes they say, "Oh, I've done something," but they never even say thank you. But if you think about it, they don't have to say thank you. I have to say thank you because they gave me the opportunity to serve. And in the end, it's better for me than for them, and this kind of also wanting to have gratitude. And some people are not grateful, and that's fine, it's their problem. But we should be grateful that we actually helping someone. They gave us the opportunity. So there are so many ways that we fulfill missions without having to transform the world, maybe with a prayer, sending a prayer to a place like Gaza, Israel, the Ukraine, the Yemen, sending them a prayer, showering, your thoughts in positive light and sending to those people who are there suffering. Because we know the ones who are suffering have nothing to do with the conflict in the first place. So they need us to send them a lot of love and not be partisans, but just see them as brothers and sisters in need. And we're doing something much more important than we think sometimes, because if we do it with faith, with kindness, and we have a really strong feeling and sending light, they will receive it. So maybe for a moment they'll be able to rest. So I don't know if I answered the question, because I went on a little bit. But
Oh, yes. Yes, you did, my dear. And also, I want you to say good evening to Marco Davis. Now, Esoli wrote to
so,
us. Thank you, Esoli.
hi, Osali. Hi.
And
Again together again.
yes,
I see
yes.
her every week.
So, I think one of our problems is because we think in order to be chosen, you need to do great things, huge things, like this case from Antians, like someone who won the lottery and gave up all the money to charity, build up homes, self-isolating in the villages in Africa to build homes, to give them water to drink. But yes, they are chosen, they are called, they are called, but chosen is kind of different. You can be chosen just to do simple things. Like Silvia said, do a prayer for someone, be supporting to someone. And I considered myself a lucky guy. I am not in a war zone. I have a shelter. I do sleep warm at night in a cozy bed. I have a family. I have health. What I can ask more for? We needed to start to stop that. Oh, if I won the lottery, I will do this. If my salary increased by X%, I will give it 5% or 2% to the nation. You need to work with what do you have right now. What do you have right now? It is everything you need to start something or to accomplish your mission. This is, in my viewpoint, the biggest mistake we always make is waiting for the perfect moment, perfect timing, perfect day, perfect year. And while we are waiting for this, we miss all the chances to get a better person, because truly, when you serve, when you help, you learn most. And we miss the opportunity to learn, to become a better person, to become a better human being. I think that's one of the points I want to handle, my dear. You're in a mute.
Mute myself. I forget sometimes to unmute. Yeah, I'm not come out of it now. I think this. This the title of a talk today, many are called, but few are chosen. It's from one of the parables of Jesus about the wedding feast that his king was going to, uh, his son was going to get married. So he invited a lot of people. And then he sent his servants to go and remind people that they hadn't been invited. And they said they wouldn't come because they were busy, whatever they were. So he sent them back and other people and said, just to remind you, he wants you to come. And then they were so angry, and because they had been intimated to go when they didn't want to. And they actually killed the messengers for the king. And then actually, then the king was so angry and said to others, go out into the highways and byways and invite everyone to the wedding, everybody, because the ones who were invited didn't come. And then, a lot of people come to the wedding, of course. And then the king saw one of the person at the wedding that wasn't dressed properly for the wedding, and so he told him to go away. And he says, one of the things that Jesus said was, the king said, take him away and send him to that place where there's gnashing of teeth and all that, so being suffering. And sometimes this parable, it's very misunderstood in many ways because, first of all, there'll be a wedding, the son of the king. Everybody would come to this wedding, even those who were not invited. But it's interesting that people didn't want to, because I think one of the problems about understanding the Gospels and why Jesus talked in parables, and actually all spiritual teachings in many cultures, they all talk in stories and parables like Jesus did, because like he said, those who have ears to hear will hear. And this is one of the difficult ones to understand, because why wouldn't people go to a wedding, and why they had to be sending people to remind them and everything. And then when they came, one of them is thrown out because he wasn't properly dressed. And I think this is one of the things that I think that was God inviting us to come to the feast that's given to all those who fulfill their missions on earth, who take on board, be it raising a child, be it raising, helping, be a daughter, the one who sweeps the street, whatever it is, that a mission, a musician, a teacher, a nurse, everyone, they going to be invited into this banquet that it be giving to all. And but also, not only you need to go, and those who don't want to because they are too busy with their own lives, in creating, as you said, when I win the lottery, when I get more money. And some people are very ambitious and they work very hard, and there is nothing wrong with it. No one is criticizing people for their effort of working hard and everything. But also, I think we always need to leave a little space for our lives. And I think those who were very, very busy, those didn't want to come. But eventually, um, if we determine ourselves to go, then we need to be prepared for it as well. It's not only the question of being invited, but it's the question of being worthy of being invited, and I think when he talks about putting the proper clothes, it's to, spiritually speaking, is your heart full of forgiveness, understanding, kindness? Are you prepared to let go of certain things to help others? And I think that that's where the nice clothes that God wants of us. And some of us are not prepared, because we are too busy doing this or that, or doing nothing at all. Because, the fact that some people don't go to them because they don't work either. So that's not a problem. Just we need to have space to be also in our lives, in our material life, but also to have that part for their spiritual life. Because no matter how rich, how powerful, how important, how special you are, one day the physical body will close their eyes to this world. That's the great unifier, isn't it, Stevan? No matter who the person is, they will die. And whether they will have a major funeral with beautiful music and things, like a queen, which I thought was beautiful, and she deserved it. There's someone who deserved that, was her. Or just a simple funeral. We are going to die. This is the great unifier. This puts us all into perspective, and we are going to leave behind all the material things that we had, we didn't have, the private planes, the diamonds, everything. But on the other side, we are all the same, except by what we've done here, all the good actions that we've done in this earth. That's the things we carry with us. That will be part of our luggage as we go into the other side. And that's what makes us a better person, live in a better place. And I think this is very important, and to define one thing. And part of this chapter as well is that when people start, because they're forever testing Jesus and asking Jesus, who do we pay the tax? Do you think we should pay the tax to the Romans or should not pay the tax? What do you think? And it was whatever answer Jesus would give them would create a problem. And then he says, well, show me the money that you have to pay. And then he said, what's the subscription here? It says Caesar. And Jesus said, give it to Caesar what's Caesar's, and to God what is God. And then, as the parable goes, they all went quiet and left. And I think that's one of the things. What do we choose? Do we choose God or do we choose Caesar, to be in the world? And the dedication and the amount of effort we put. And if we want a life of a spiritual peace in this earth, and we'll carry that with us once we go to the next world, to our next life. It's just doing the small things, the small kindnesses, helping, giving a hand, listening to someone, making someone feel valued and useful. And that's doing your job to the best of your abilities. Even in your work, I say, I can't be bothered with doing this. And you just go do whatever, I've got my salary, I don't have to bother. No, you have to have a conscience that you fulfilled your duty. You've done the best you could. And that's also, is a way of serving God, isn't it? By serving whoever, doing what you have to do to the best of your abilities, whatever place you find yourself in. I think that is, one of the things really to think about this passage, because a lot to be called, but few are chosen. So, it doesn't matter if you just go. You need to be prepared to go, to be received, be worthy. Yeah.
Agreed. And I also make connection this passage with the I'm sure you know the passage in English is the wide door and the narrow door.
Oh yes, straight. The straight and the narrow.
Straight and
The
narrow
straight
door.
path is the straight the gate and narrow is the way.
Yes. So, in order to be chosen, and when we are chosen, it is an invitation for ourselves to go to the narrow door. The narrow door is more difficult to get through it. To go to the narrow door, we need to use our free will, because it's up to us to decide, oh, I go to this path or I go to the other path. Nobody gonna push you, not gonna force you, not gonna nobody gonna say to you, oh, take the left instead of right, or take this pathway instead of that one. Is up entirely to yourself. And another invitation we have to know how we should behave, how we should act. It is these constant calls we received from God, let's say. Because the gospel is here. The gospel, it's or this episode is a reminder for ourselves how to conduct. And the gospel was among us, which is Jesus, who lived exactly how a good man shall live. So we cannot say, I don't know, I didn't know. The call is for ourselves today, but it's up to you to answer the call or not. It just means one day you will answer the call. I don't know how long time. I don't know when this is gonna happen, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna happen. For some, the call will be a little bit tough. For the others, less tough, less tough, less less difficult. But why? Just experiences. There's not merits. It is experiences. If you go googling on internet, and we do have this in English, Givaldo saying all the troubles, problems, difficulties he came through in order to build the mansion of the way. There. So it's not easy, but it's up to us how we're gonna live. It's not easy to go to a doctor and be I forgot diagnosed. Yeah. Uh, oh, you have a cancer. Okay. The first call, it is the toughest to receive. But after receiving this, it's up to you how you handle your life. If you're gonna stay thinking you are the least person in the world, why me? I do all these good things, but I'm suffering now. I'm being punished now. The other hand, you can say, okay, I have this. I will fight for my life, and I will accept whatever outcome it comes. is your choice. Again, going back to my point, it is your free will. We will decide what do you want. But I can guarantee we are being called every single day. Okay. Anything to add, my dear?
No, I think you're right. As I said, every single day we are called, every moment, really. There are so many situations. And I think also, I think sometimes we do fail a bit. We do fail that we haven't fulfilled things the way we should, or we didn't have enough patience with some situation. And I think it's necessity for us to we stop and meditate on the day we've done, and what have we done, because many times we fail to do what we had to do. But the point is not to become, oh, I failed, I'm not good enough. Don't fall in those traps. The thing is, I failed, yes, I could have done better, but I didn't. So today I'm going to be better than I was yesterday, and tomorrow be better than today. And I think instead of think how small we are, how um, impossible certain situations seems to be in our lives and everything, um, there is always a solution. If we stop and think, and not falling into the negative trap of thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, I'll never be able to do it, then because you are telling yourself you're not. But yes, I done wrong, I made a mistake, I wasn't as kind as I could have been, or did whatever, but tomorrow I am going to be better. From now on, I'll be better. And just put in your mind that you can be better, and you are going to be better, because what we have our mind thinking is what we will do. That's where our actions start. And if we think positive, give ourselves the opportunity to do right, and readdress all the wrongs, because like St. Peter said, good action, it covers a multitude of sins. So don't think how bad it was, but how good I can be now, and go forward in a positive way. Because I think, in this part of the gospel as well, he says, those who have much to be asked of. So and that is the other one as well, that for those who have much to be given, and those who have not, will be taken away. And that's another one of the parables that are very confusing to people, because we tend to think of everything in terms of material things rather than spiritual. So if a person who has already but does more, is kinder, it makes the effort, because I think it's not, oh yes, I have to be so generous and I have to be so wonderful, but to make the effort to make a difference. It doesn't mean that you have to give everything. There are things that sometimes don't require money, or any possessions, but it requires what you have inside, what you can give, that it's yours, that belongs to you. And then we can do that. And of course, once we do that, once we give more, spiritually you'll be given more as well. We'll have more protection, we'll have more support from the benefactors. And then the more you give, and if you don't have anything, if you don't give anything, you're not going to get anything either. And I think that's a way of understanding those parables, to think that in terms of spiritual gains, and giving of spiritual of goodness that you have, sharing around. It's not anything to do with the material things, that if you're poor, you're going to be even poorer, although sometimes it does happen in real life. But I think in the parables he was talking about giving more of, spiritually speaking. And because, the door is open for everyone. But if you have a lot of luggage, you can't get into the gate, isn't it? And one thing also that is very important, because sometimes we think that if we pray a lot, if we go to church a lot, we are constantly talking about God and living a life of total restriction. Um, and then, Jesus in one of the parables, he said, not everyone who says, Lord, we went into the kingdom of God, but those who do the will of my Father who is in heaven. And I think this, I always think about this, because I find that it's extremely powerful, um, in a sense that if there are people who they might not even believe in God, but they live such a life of grace, of goodness, and they help people, they do so much to others, and they will go to the straight door. And all the others who, are there praying all day long, but doing nothing at all to help people, they will have too much luggage to go through. So, and I think as well for us who believe, not to judge others, because we don't know. Only God knows what is in people's heart. And he may see things that we are not able to, don't you think?
Yeah, my dear. While you were talking, I remembered a passage from a movie, a very, very new movie, Gone with the Wind.
That's a very,
Yeah, it's a very old movie,
in the
but
30s, yeah.
but
It's a great book, though.
yes, yes, and I would say what I'm saying, the kind of transformation required for ourselves, it is exactly what this book or the movie Gone with the Wind tells. When the Scarlet, she says, open quotes, as God is my witness, as God is my witness, they are not going to lick me. I'm going to live it through this, and when it's all over, I will never be hungry again.
Yeah,
Note
yes.
that she's not saying, I have a problem, I will sleep today, and tomorrow I will wake up with everything sorted out, like a, a magic wand. No, she said, when it's all over. This may take months, days, years, but when it's all over, she will never be hungry again. This for me it is a wake up call, because everyone wants to be called, everyone wants to be in a good position, but nobody is up to donate yourself, go to the troubles, go into the problems. We want to just wake up tomorrow and say, oh, thank God it's gone. And at least for me, this is a good example how we should handle it. You know, for those who don't know more about the movie, please
It's a
research,
very old film, yeah.
research. you know,
And of course, she was talking about, the period that she was living through was one of the hardest and most painful periods in the history of United States. As it was the Civil War that was brutal, was absolutely savage.
yes,
those 4 5 years of that horrible war that still now, still have the marks of it. And we are living through many difficult things now, and some people are living in that situation without having the, because of some people's ambitions for power too, because um, they don't care really who they sacrifice, to achieve whatever they want to achieve. And that's painful. And I think, she said that, and actually she did it. Because if you see the movie, Scarlett O'Hara was a woman to be reckoned with, and she did everything to overcome, and she did. So I think that's one of the things we have to say. Nothing lasts forever. Everything uh, we go, we have to pass. Everything must pass and will pass, and things will be different. So not give in or give up, but try to, to stand there, and when the things are difficult, because also we can always ask for help, isn't it? When we are living certain situations, sometimes we have friends, other people don't have anybody, and it's very, very difficult. But you can always pray, because God is always with us and won't give up on us at all, so we should not give up on him. And don't see ourselves as small. I feel that, sometimes we tend to look at ourselves and think, oh, I'm not as good, I'm not as clever, I don't have as much money, I'm not as pretty, I'm not as this, I'm not as that. And we accept everything that we don't have, instead of making the list of everything we do. We're thoughtful, we're kind, we have good friends, we have loving families, we can give this, we are able to work, we are able to get up in the morning by ourselves, go to work, do whatever. We are so blessed with so many things. And instead of seeing everything that we don't have, look at the great things that we do have, and then we would feel a lot better and much more positive. Because I think one of the parts as well of the gospel here, actually, it says, how do you recognize a good Christian? And that's one of the most difficult things, and I'm not talking about religious, religion, or the follower of Jesus and follow that. Because if you take the gospel, it's universal. It's not specific, because actually Jesus didn't create any church at all, He had all the gospels apply to the people of his time, and to us now, and will be forever, because it's universal teaching, and mostly is in every other culture and other religion, that they have the same principles, or having kindness to each other, and treating each other as with the same values that we have, as the same things that we want for ourselves, we should want for others as well, isn't it? So, I mean, he talks about, how the Spirit teaches how to recognize a good Christian, if he's forgiving, if he's loving, if he follows the basic, if he does to others what he wants the others to do for him. And this is basic. And it doesn't necessarily mean that those people who call themselves Christians do those things. But maybe lots of people who don't call themselves Christians follow those things, and they will go to the narrow door, as you could say. So, in a way, it's a sort of message. What I feel for myself is stop thinking small and think big. I am a good person. I have the possibility of being better. I can improve myself. I'm intelligent enough, because I am a child of God. I am part of his light, of his love. How can I feel small when the universe is my inheritance, you
Mm-hmm.
know? I think that that's what we needed to say, because I think if we could feel like that, we would stop having wars, and all this, because for a power that won't last, even with all the killing and destruction, that, maybe in an hour, they destroy 5,000 years of history, because mankind can be extremely savage in some things. But it will be left, and they will die like everybody else, and all the power and all this, they will go with them, because they will have to leave it here. And when they go to the other side, they have the amount of, in their memories will be the amount of people who were destroyed for their ambition. And that is a very painful time to have. And I think sometimes you need to feel sorry for that, because one day they have to wake up to what they've done, and that's a sad day. And as we wake up to the things we've done, because we don't know who we were in the past, so try to be good and positive now, and try to make it, at least the world around you, a better place, being a little kinder, instead of saying something, just listen. And something I need to learn, and make people feel valued, that they are important. You can achieve so much more, with people who, you can make them feel better and good about themselves. This is such a gift to give to ourselves and to everybody else, to make the world a little lighter and a little better around us. That is within our reach. We can't change the world, but we can change the world around us. And because we can change ourselves, that's the thing, I think, for this message. And then when we called, we'll be one of the ones who are chosen. Isn't it good? To
It
be able
is.
to,
It is
yes,
good.
you can come into the party. You are invited, and you can stay. Um, doesn't take very much.
Yeah. While you're talking again, you give me a lot of inspirations. I remember a video I saw a while ago, and let me show this video. It's 20 seconds. It's a very short video, but it's good. Let me play here.
I wish I had known that this too shall pass. You feel bad right now? You feel pissed off? You feel angry?
Yes,
This too shall pass.
Oh,
You
great.
feel great? You feel like you know all the answers?
Yeah.
You feel like that everybody finally gets you, and there you are.
Yeah.
This too shall pass.
pass. Ooh, good.
Time is your ally,
Mm.
and if nothing else, just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait it out.
So this shall pass.
I never seen that. Everything
Yeah.
shall pass, yeah. And I mean, it was all these very, very famous people there, isn't it?
Yes,
Each and every
yes,
one
yes.
of them
Tom
are
Hanks,
very,
Robert
very
De
famous,
Niro,
very well loved.
Adam Sandler.
Most of them Oscar winners and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because they all go through the same questions, and I think, just repeating myself, I think the greatest gift that we can give someone is to make them feel valued, to
Yes.
give them a proper recognition. It's such a easy thing to do, but makes very big difference on people's lives. And that, I think, one of the things we should really do, without flattery, without saying things that are not true, just to get into people's ego and flatter their egos. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about seeing something genuine that the person has and emphasizing that point for them. Say, oh,
Yeah.
you did this, they were very good when you did that. And, in a sense of making them feel valued, but not flattery, because flattery means that there's something negative in the person, but you think, you wanted to flatter them, their ego. And it's not that, it's that genuine feeling that every person has, no matter who they are, they have that. And it's just to discover it and make them feel good about that. Big transformations can happen
Oh,
in our own
yes.
life and in our own lives. Um, I was talking to this friend of mine the other day about Oscar Wilde, and I absolutely adore Oscar Wilde. I think he was one of the greatest writers ever in the world. And when his book about the portrait of Dorian Gray, which is incredible, his friend paints him, and he's an extremely good-looking young man. And he says, "Oh, I wish I could always be like that." And then, later on in his life, because of the choices he makes, he becomes very cruel. And he becomes very, and this painting that he has in his drawing room, every time he sees it, when he does something deliberately cruel to someone, when he comes home, he has a look at the painting because he always looking at the painting, admiring himself. And he notices, I always remember that, he knows that something in the mouth had changed, from that rosy kind of, there's like a kind of wrist in the mouth, and he's surprised when he sees it. And then, from then on, he goes on in his life of cruelty and everything. And the painting is transformed, and it's like his outer ego is there, and then he becomes so disgrace and disgrace with that he hides the painting, but he himself always looks really nice and young and beautiful. But he cannot tolerate to look at his painting anymore that shows all the marks of his cruelty and his evil ways. And I think how much of it, is ourselves, how we hide from ourselves instead of bringing out a picture and saying, oh, this is not very good. What can I do to make it better here? And eventually when he, does, read the book and he becomes so
Yeah.
and I think it is a good idea, to bring a painting and have a look at it. And, all the things that are showing that's not very nice. How can I change that? How can I make it better, to
Yes.
alleviate it? So,
Yes.
hello, Ruben, all the way from Uruguay. I hope you're very hot there. Everyone is very hot in South America at the moment.
Yeah.
It's being
Yes.
unbearably
We don't
hot.
need some code. I don't. I'm not jealous.
Yes, no, neither am I. I can send you, we're only 7 degrees here. We can send you, we split in the two. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
there's been a problem with the jet stream, isn't it? That's parts of South America is very, very hot, and in but not in Europe will be very cold.
Yeah. So, for next week, our topic is what makes it important to forgive our enemies. It's on the 29th of November at 4 p.m. London time. Also, on the 10th of December, we will have the round table with all people who gave a talk about the Gabriel Delan. And so this is a must watch event talking about Gabriel Delan to wrap up the year we dedicated to, to him. Every Saturday, we do have our Mediums book studies with Guilherme Dias, Munir Gariba, Charles Kempf, 10:30 a.m. London time. Every Monday at 8 p.m. London time, we have the study of the book Astral City. And every other Tuesday, the conversations on mediumship with Rafael Caldas and Faye Waddington. And this is it for ourselves today, my friends. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Marco Davis, Ruben de los Santos, Elsa Lee, Delaney Freitas, Trevor, our dear Marcia Leon, Thais Ferrari, sorry, Thais Ferrari, so Andrea Oliveira. So thank you very much for your time, and we will see you next week.
Yes, hopefully Charles will be with us as well.
Yeah, I hope he'll be here with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be good.
okay.
So, thank you very much, everyone. Have a blessed week, and be with you again. Bye, Stevan,
Bye, Silvia.
and bye to
Tomorrow.
Charles, and bye,
Bye,
everyone.
Charles.
God bless you all.
Cheers.
Bye
Bye, bye.
bye.
Bye, bye.
Bye.